History is filled with moments of profound crisis, crossroads that test the character of leaders and shape the future for generations. For the early Muslim community, one of those moments hit in the year 661 AD. It was a time of deep division, simmering conflict, and a people on the verge of tearing themselves apart. At the center of this storm was a man raised in the house of the Prophet himself, a man known for his wisdom, his piety, and his deep love for his community. This is the story of Hazrat Hassan ibn Ali. At a time of absolute chaos, with the Muslim world on the brink of a devastating civil war, why did the beloved grandson of the Prophet Muhammad lay down his arms? Was it an act of surrender? Or was it an act of profound wisdom that saved the future of Islam itself? In this video, we'll uncover the immense pressure Hazrat Hassan was under and reveal why his choice for peace was not one of weakness, but one of the most powerful acts of leadership in Islamic history. To really get the weight of the decision on Hazrat Hassan's shoulders, we have to go back to the year 40 after Hijrah, or 661 CE. The Muslim world was in mourning. The fourth caliph, the great lion of God, Hazrat Ali ibn Abi Talib, had been assassinated while in prayer at the great mosque of Kufa. His murder didn't just send shockwaves, it ripped open a power vacuum in an already fractured community. The first civil war had left deep scars, and the Ummah was dangerously divided. In Kufa, the heartland of his father's support, the people immediately turned to his eldest son, Hassan. He was the direct grandson of the Prophet Muhammad, raised in his own household and praised by him as a master of the youth of paradise. He was the living embodiment of the piety and knowledge of the Ahlul Bayt, the Prophet's family. After his father's death, the people of Kufa pledged their allegiance to him as the rightful caliph, agreeing to be at peace with whomever he chose for peace and at war with whomever he chose for war. But hundreds of miles away in Syria, another power was growing. Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan, the governor of Syria and a sharp political strategist, refused to recognize Hassan's caliphate. For years he had operated with near-total autonomy, building a loyal and powerful army. He saw this moment of chaos as his golden opportunity to seize control of the entire Muslim empire. With Hazrat Ali gone, Muawiyah saw his main obstacle removed. He immediately began marching towards Iraq with a reported army of 60,000 soldiers, determined to force Hassan to abdicate. Hazrat Hassan, now the leader of the faithful, was facing a monumental challenge. He inherited a community exhausted by infighting and a treasury drained by years of war. Though he managed to rally a force of around 40,000, his army was a fragile coalition. It was a mix of his most devoted followers, soldiers who were only there for the promise of battlefield spoils, and many others who were simply tired of fighting. This internal division was a weakness Muawiyah knew exactly how to exploit. The stage was set for a disaster. Two massive Muslim armies were poised to destroy each other. One was led by the Prophet's grandson, fighting to preserve a legacy of justice. The other was led by a cunning governor with unstoppable political ambition. The very soul of the young Islamic empire was on the line. The question on everyone's mind was, what would happen next? As Hazrat Hassan prepared to face the advancing Syrian army, the ground beneath his feet began to crumble. The disunity his father had struggled with was now coming back to haunt him. Muawiyah, a master of psychological warfare, didn't just rely on his soldiers. He sent spies and agents into Hassan's camp to spread rumors and chaos. According to historical accounts, he used bribery with devastating effect, offering money and powerful positions to tribal leaders and commanders in Hassan's army. One of the most shattering betrayals came from a key commander, Ubayd Allah ibn al-Abbas, who led the vanguard of Hassan's forces. Bribed by Muawiyah, he deserted his post in the middle of the night, taking a huge chunk of the army with him. This treachery sent a wave of despair through the remaining troops. The army started to fracture. Rumors, many planted by Muawiyah's agents, spread like wildfire, suggesting Hassan was already planning to surrender. The trust was gone. The situation grew so hostile that some of Hassan's own men, from the fanatical Kharijiti faction, turned on him. In a shocking assassination attempt, he was attacked and badly wounded. Imagine the scene. The appointed leader of the Muslims is betrayed by his top commanders, his treasury is empty, his soldiers are deserting him, and now he's been physically wounded by his own men. His army was in complete disarray. The people of Kufa, who had promised their loyalty, were now wavering, with many calling for an end to the fighting. It was at this breaking point that Hazrat Hassan had to make a choice. This wasn't about winning or losing a battle anymore. He saw what others couldn't. Continuing to fight wouldn't lead to a noble victory. It would lead to a horrific massacre of Muslim against Muslim, one that would destroy the best of his family and followers. He foresaw a river of blood with no clear winner, a conflict that would leave the community vulnerable to its enemies, like the Byzantine Empire just waiting at the borders. With his options gone and driven by a powerful desire to prevent this catastrophe, Hazrat Hassan chose peace. This wasn't a surrender out of weakness. It was a calculated move to save the community from itself. He sent a message to Muawiyah, agreeing to hand over political authority, but only under a strict set of conditions. Though the exact wording differs slightly in historical sources, the core terms of the peace treaty were clear. First, Muawiyah had to rule according to the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad. Second, the hateful practice of publicly cursing Hazrat Ali from the pulpits, which was common in Syria, had to end. Third, the safety and security of all of Hassan's followers, and indeed all Muslims, had to be guaranteed with no reprisals. And crucially, Muawiyah was not to appoint a successor. After his death, the leadership of the Muslim world was to be decided by a council, shura, with the rightful claim returning to Hassan or, if he was no longer alive, to his brother, Hussein. Muawiyah publicly agreed to all the conditions. The treaty was signed in 661 AD, a year that became known as the Year of Unity because it stopped the civil war. But was this peace really a victory, and would the terms actually be honored? Right after the treaty, many of Hazrat Hassan's own followers were devastated. Some felt he had let them down, accusing him of blackening the faces of the believers. They were ready for martyrdom and couldn't understand why their leader chose peace with a man they saw as a tyrant. But Hazrat Hassan's vision went far beyond the immediate moment. His decision wasn't about personal power. It was a strategic move to save the soul of Islam. The first and most obvious benefit of his wisdom was that the bloodshed stopped immediately. The treaty prevented a massive civil war that would have killed countless people and shattered the Muslim world. This act alone fulfilled a prophecy from his grandfather, the Prophet Muhammad, who once said of a young Hassan, "This grandson of mine is a master, and perhaps Allah will use him to reconcile two great factions of Muslims." But the treaty's wisdom ran deeper. By stepping away from political power, Hazrat Hassan set a trap. He forced Muawiyah to make public promises. When Muawiyah entered Kufa, he gave a shocking speech, declaring that every condition he agreed to with Hassan was now under his foot. He ignored the treaty, most famously by later appointing his own son, Yazid, as his successor, which turned the caliphate into a hereditary monarchy. This public betrayal of his sacred oath exposed his true character for everyone to see. It showed that his rule was about worldly ambition, not the principles of the Quran and Sunnah. If Hazrat Hassan had fought and died on the battlefield then, his cause could have been dismissed by Muawiyah's propaganda as just another power struggle. But by choosing peace and having its terms so publicly violated, he revealed the truth. He allowed the nature of Muawiyah's rule to expose itself over time, drawing a clear line between the path of the Prophet's family, one of justice and piety, and the path of worldly kingship. This act was critical, as it laid the moral groundwork for the future stand of his brother, Imam Hussein, who would later rise up against the tyranny that Hassan's treaty had so brilliantly exposed. Hazrat Hassan retired from politics and moved to Medina, where he spent the rest of his life teaching, guiding the community, and being a model of compassion and generosity. He showed the world that leadership isn't just about a throne or a title. His wisdom was in his ability to see the long game, to sacrifice his own position for the greater good, and to understand that true strength sometimes means choosing peace over war. His decision teaches a timeless lesson. Leadership isn't about clinging to power at any cost. It's about protecting the lives and faith of the people you lead. It's about having the foresight to trade a short-term, bloody conflict for a long-term moral victory. Hazrat Hassan chose to save the body of the Ummah from being destroyed, even if it meant giving up the title of Caliph. In doing so, he preserved its soul. The story of Hazrat Hassan is a powerful reminder that history is filled with complex choices and incredible wisdom. If this story made you think, please subscribe and press the bell icon for more deep dives into Islamic history. Share this video to help spread this important lesson in leadership and let us know your thoughts in the comments below. What does Hazrat Hassan's choice teach us about leadership in our own time? The legacy of Hazrat Hassan ibn Ali isn't one of surrender, but of supreme sacrifice and strategic genius. In a world on fire, he chose to be the water that put out the flames. He placed the well-being of an entire community above his own personal right, showing a type of leadership that values preservation over power. His wisdom was a shield that protected the future of Islam, ensuring its core message would survive the political storms of his era. He remains a guiding light, a testament to the fact that in a world of chaos, the most courageous choice can be the choice for peace.